So a lot of people right now around the world are, I'm going to say, relatively happy because a lot of news outlets and stuff are posting about Ubisoft greenlighting what will be its first mainline Splinter Cell game in a decade. I don't think this is going to be good based on what this article says, because there are quotes from Yves, who is the CEO of Ubisoft. But not only that, you have to think about Ubisoft's recent times, how they've announced Frontline, XDefiant, and also The Division Heartland, which are 3 free-to-play games, and the reception's been a lot better for Heartland. XDefiant wasn't too bad, but Frontline, there was enough backlash to get them to indefinitely delay their upcoming test. They announced it for 9 days after their reveal, and 8 days after the reveal, so a day before the test was supposed to go live, they cancelled it. The one thing you have to do when it comes to this is think. They've announced it like the sources are claiming. So if you're saying there's an unofficial announcement for a new Splinter Cell, 1, it might not be genuine. 2, you can't get hyped because you don't know what's actually going to happen with this. You just have to take it all as it comes. So right now, it's not even a guarantee that a new Splinter Cell is coming, but if we read this, it probably will actually turn up and be a game, because I believe the free-to-play model that Ubisoft are trying to, the route they're trying to take with the free-to-play model is not working out for them, so they're wanting to make this fantastic comeback. And what's one of the biggest franchises that everyone wants Ubisoft to carry on with? That would be the Splinter Cell franchise. So it says here, Ubisoft has greenlit what will be its first mainline Splinter Cell game in a decade. That is according to development sources, who told us that the title has been put into production as a means of winning back fans that are frustrated by recent efforts to revive the franchise in the mobile and VR spaces. It's not clear which studios are working on the project, though 2 people with knowledge of Ubisoft's plans suggested the new Splinter Cell was being led by a studio outside of its traditional Montreal base. So it's not even going to be the original developers that are working on this. It's going to be a brand new lot, so it might not, if it is a genuine sort of announcement, leak basically, then it's not going to be probably anyone that originally worked on the series. So it could be completely different to how you know and love Splinter Cell games. This title is in an early phase of production, the sources said, but there's a small chance it could be announced next year. The much requested sequel will arrive at a time when the company is looking to rebuild its image, following a wave of blah 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 allegations. I'm not getting into that stuff, but when I say the word allegations, you should know what I'm talking about. Employee groups say they are not satisfied with the level of action taken by Ubisoft to change its culture. Ubisoft declined to comment when approached ahead of publication. Splinter Cell is a series of stealth games published under the Tom Clancy label. The game's star is Sam Fisher, a Black Ops agent working for the government division, the Third Echelon. And if you think about it, a couple of games here and there have had Sam Fisher DLC. I've said for a while, I don't think a Splinter Cell game is going to come out because they just love using Sam Fisher as a microtransaction. But I mean, it's Ubisoft. They've put time savers in most of their games and stuff now. So this Splinter Cell could more than likely not be anything how we know Splinter Cell. But the most recent Splinter Cell game was 2013's Splinter Cell Blacklist, and the 8 years since its release represents the longest period without a new entry in the franchise since it started in 2002. Ubisoft already announced a new Splinter Cell project last year, but many fans were left disappointed as the game was announced as a VR-only title created in partnership with Facebook. In recent years, the Assassin's Creed publisher has suggested it's been considering bringing back the Tom Clancy series. Last year, CEO Yves said the Splinter Cell series needed to evolve before it could make a comeback. When you create a game, you have to make sure you will come with something that will be different enough from what you did before. No. That's where Ubisoft and a lot of other companies go wrong. You don't make a game and then come with something that's different enough from what you did before. You make a game and then its sequel has to follow on from what the previous game was. You have to expand on the stories, you have to add new features and functions, new mechanics, new leveling systems, all that sort of stuff, but you need to try and keep it to stick to its roots. The fact that The Division 1 was so different to The Division 2, just put a lot of players off. You'll see a lot of people will say to you, I love Division 1, couldn't get into the Division 2, because it's just so much different. You don't have to be different every single time you make a new game. Especially like when you're making a new IP, fair enough, but when you're going in with a sequel, nah, keep it like close to its roots, but just change things up, make it more up to date, make it fresh, make the mechanics better, all that sort of stuff. But Eves also said the last time we did a Splinter Cell, we had lots of pressure from all the fans actually saying, don't change it, don't do this, don't do that. So some of the teams were more anxious to work on the brand. Yeah, I see that as excuses. You always hear the same bullshit from all development companies. We're under so much pressure. Well, they're very good at ignoring the community when it comes to fixing the game when it launches, so just ignore the community when you're working on the game. Don't use that shit as an excuse. You can still work with people just banging on about stuff in your ear on social media. But it carries on to say now there are some things and some people that are now looking at the brand, taking care of the brand. So at one point you will see something, but I can't say any more than that. The CEO also said a key factor in the wait for a new Splinter Cell game has been the success of other Ubisoft franchises, such as Assassin's Creed, and the emergence of newer ones like Watch Dogs and The Division. So basically they're just using their other games and saying, oh, because Assassin's Creed's doing so well, we're making so much money off it, we don't give a fuck about Splinter Cell, because we don't know if you're like going to buy it or not. Not only have these sold relatively well, but developers have been keen to work on fresher properties too. Also, because of Assassin's Creed and all the other brands taken off, people wanted to work on those brands more, so we have to follow what they like to do. Bullshit. It's all because of the money. If a developer at Ubisoft knows and loves the company they work for, they would want to work on a new Splinter Cell game. That's a fact. Splinter Cell was one of the greatest franchises they ever actually made. And there's a reason so many people are talking about it, because people want it. So these people that are sitting at Ubisoft saying, oh no, I want these fresh properties, I want to work on this Assassin's Creed, they're all new developers. And that's probably partly why so many games are broken nowadays, because you don't have these veteran, experienced developers working on games anymore. They're all new, fresh interns and stuff like that get these jobs. You see companies recruiting all the time, so these people probably don't even know what the company works with, what sort of games they've made in the past. They just see a game development job and they just take it. But, as always in my videos, that is my opinion. I would not get hyped, at least until a proper official announcement, because this is just what development sources are claiming. Nothing is official yet, so there is a possibility that a new Splinter Cell is coming. It probably won't be released until 2023 or 2024 even, if it don't get delayed and everything like most of the games do nowadays. But that's if this is legit. It is not 100%, so I definitely wouldn't go getting hyped about it. And don't forget, this is Ubisoft. They need to try and, as it says here, rebuild its image. They've tried bringing back Splinter Cell in the form of mobile and VR, and they've also tried going down the free-to-play route, which has frustrated a lot of fans of the company and of the games they make. So I wouldn't get any hopes up right now. I'd stay realistic, and we will just have to wait and see what happens. But that's everything that's going on at the moment. They've said all this stuff about a Splinter Cell game. Some development sources have claimed there's one in production. All that sort of stuff. I would literally just take this as a pinch of salt for the time being until there's something 100% official. But as I said, my opinion, I'm going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.